So for the last little bit, we've been hacking into the DADGAD system. Remember, DADGAD just describes the tuning of the various strings, D, A, D, G, A, D. And what's really cool is by spending some time working with DADGAD, figuring out how the chords come together, how we manipulate the strings to get the sounds we want, is really something we can transport back when we play E standard as well. And this has the advantage of getting us away from having to always look at chord charts. We can start figuring out what goes on. So we've looked at the D chord, and it was actually a D major chord in a previous video. And we came up with a C major. It's kind of a C add 9 really. Okay, very nice sounding chord. And so if we think about the way we structure music, we really want to have the root, the third, or the root, the fourth, and the fifth chords. So that's the G, the C, and the D. And once we have those, we've got pretty much the makings of a lot of Western music. So that's what we're aiming at. So today we're going to look at G. And remembering that the top string is the one we want to have the G note on. And it's not that you can't have inversions, but basically to start. And so G is going to be located right here. So we have a D, E, F, G. All right, that's pretty simple. And the next thing we want to have then is the third, and the third in the G major scale is going to be, or the G major chord is going to be G, then A, then B. So we're looking for a B note. So there's going to be a B right here. And in fact, that's a pretty reasonable B chord. But it's not really, that's a very reasonable G chord, but it's not a very complete G chord. We still have these bottom strings that maybe aren't sounding right. Okay, so we can muck around a little bit. And in this case, I'm going to keep that G note. I'm going to hide the fifth string. I'm going to keep the D because the three notes of the G major scale are a G, a B, and a D. So we've got the B. Now we need the B chord, or B note. So that's the G, A, B. So it's sitting right here. Okay. Something like that. And that just leaves us with two strings left to play with. And so this is an A string, so A, B, C, D. D is one of the notes of our G chord. This is a D string, D, E, F, G. So we end up with a very nice sounding G chord just by putting that pattern together, for lack of a better word. And that's a very nice and fairly authentic G major chord, which is a very powerful way to build our chords. But the nice thing is now we really do have our three chords that are mostly the standard G, C's, and D's. There's our G. If we want this to be a true C instead of C add 9, we have to stop one string short. Okay, so there would be our C, and then we're going to have our D major. And that's pretty good. We've really hacked the DADGAD system to get the three chords we were interested in. Now we do remember that in order to get back to E standard, all we really have to do is fret the sixth string, the first and the second strings all in the second fret, and that's going to be some kind of like E minor add 11. Well, remember, the E minor in DADGAD is going to give us an E minor sounding chord, and so we can get a fairly E minor sounding chord just by fretting the top three strings. Now, it's not a perfect necessarily E minor chord, but it gets us pretty close. Now, this has been a very little powerful exercise to have put together. In the next video, what we're going to look at is how to make this sound more DADGAD than just the major and minor chords.